The rain in Savannah fell like a curtain of silver threads the night Isabel Cross realized her marriage had been a negotiation she never agreed to. Their office sat above a row of antique boutiques on Broughton Street, the kind of place where polished brass door handles gleamed like quiet wealth. Inside, their law firm, Cross Hartley, felt less like an office and more like a private club for the powerful. Mahogany shelves held leather-bound case law. Persian rugs softened every footstep. Crystal decanters of bourbon stood beside case files thick with corporate secrets. It had been Isabel's idea. Every detail of the firm had once lived only in her imagination. The warm lighting that made clients feel safe, the velvet chairs that made them linger, the quiet sense that when they walked through those doors, their problems would be handled with elegance and precision. But the brass nameplate outside only carried two names: Matthew Hartley, Isabel Cross Hartley. Matthew always insisted on the order. Isabel understood power. She had grown up the daughter of a seamstress who stitched wedding gowns in a small shop that smelled of satin and steam. Isabel spent afternoons watching women try on dresses that cost more than her mother earned in a year. She learned something then. Luxury wasn't always about money. Sometimes it was about control, and Isabel intended to have it. Matthew had been charming when they met at a legal conference in Chicago 10 years earlier. Tall, confident, impossibly articulate. He had a way of making a room feel smaller when he spoke, as if everyone instinctively leaned closer.
"You're wasted working for that firm,"
He'd told her over a glass of red wine.
"You think 3 moves ahead of everyone else?"
Isabel had laughed.
And you know that after one conversation?
After 10 minutes.
Within a year, they were married. Within 2, they had opened Cross Hartley. And for a while, it worked. They were brilliant together in the courtroom. Matthew delivered sweeping, charismatic arguments that juries adored. Isabel dismantled opponents piece by piece with surgical logic. Clients loved them. Powerful clients. A luxury hotel chain accused of corporate fraud. A billionaire philanthropist in a high-profile divorce. A tech company facing intellectual property theft. One by one, victories stacked up like trophies. And Cross Hartley became one of the most sought-after boutique law firms in the Southeast. But success had a strange way of revealing people. Matthew began correcting Isabel in meetings. Small things at first, then larger ones.
"Let me handle this."
He'd say when a client asked her a question. Or worse.
"She's brilliant with research. I handle the strategy."
The first time he said it, Isabel thought she misheard. The second time, she knew she hadn't. The confrontation happened during a dinner party at their home. Their house sat on the river outside the city, a modern masterpiece of glass and steel. Candlelight reflected off the water, while a string quartet played softly in the living room. Matthew loved these parties. They were less about friendship and more about networking disguised as luxury. Judges, developers, politicians, and tonight, 3 of their biggest clients. Isabel stood near the marble kitchen island, sipping champagne, when she heard Matthew's voice drift from the terrace.
"She's talented,"
He was saying.
"but women lawyers tend to get emotional with clients."
The words hit her like a slap. Someone laughed politely. Matthew continued.
"That's why I handle most of the negotiations."
Isabel felt the room tilt slightly. Her husband, her partner, the man whose firm she had built with her own hands, reducing her to a liability. The moment was strangely quiet inside her. Not anger, not yet. Just clarity. The following Monday, Isabel arrived at the office earlier than usual. The city was still waking up. She walked slowly through the firm she had designed. The sunlight spilled across the floors exactly the way she intended when she chose the windows. The place looked like success. But suddenly it felt like someone else's house. Matthew arrived an hour later. He hung his coat and glanced at her.
"You're in early."
Isabel closed a case file.
Matthew, did you tell clients I get emotional in negotiations?
He paused, then shrugged.
It was a joke.
It didn't sound like one.
He leaned back in his chair.
You're overthinking it.
There was that word, overthinking. Isabel had spent 10 years building this firm. 10 years studying every nuance of strategy, psychology, negotiation. And the man beside her thought she was overthinking.
Matthew,
She said quietly.
who brings in most of our clients?
He frowned.
That's not the point.
But it is.
He sighed impatiently.
You're excellent at legal work, Isabel. But leadership requires a certain temperament.
A male temperament?
Matthew didn't even hesitate.
Realistically, yes.
The silence between them became sharp. Something inside Isabel shifted permanently, not breaking, transforming. She simply watched. She noticed things. Clients requesting meetings with her specifically. Emails addressed only to Isabel. Executives calling her cell phone instead of the office line. She began having quiet lunches with them. Not about leaving the firm, just conversations, listening, understanding. And slowly, a pattern emerged. They trusted her more than Matthew. Because Isabel never performed for power, she understood it. One evening in late October, she met with a longtime client, billionaire hotel developer Julian Avery, at a candlelit restaurant overlooking the river. He studied her over his wine glass.
You look like a woman planning something.
Isabel smiled slightly.
What makes you say that?
Lawyers only get that calm when they're about to detonate something.
She laughed.
I'm considering opening my own firm.
Julian didn't blink.
When?
Sometime next year.
He set down his glass.
If you do, I'm moving all my business with you.
Isabel stared at him.
You haven't even heard my pitch.
I don't need to.
He leaned forward.
You're the one who wins cases.
Word travels quietly in powerful circles. By December, 3 more clients had said the same thing. If Isabel left, they would follow. She didn't tell Matthew. Not yet. Instead, she prepared. She found an office in a restored historic building downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor. She hired a designer. She registered a new firm name, Isabel Cross Legal, elegant, uncompromising, and entirely hers. Matthew found out on a Tuesday morning. He walked into the office holding a legal document.
What is this?
Isabel looked up calmly. Her resignation letter lay on his desk.
I'm leaving the firm.
His laugh was sharp.
You're joking.
No,
You can't just walk out of a partnership.
I can. And I did.
He slammed the paper onto the desk.
You think clients will follow you?
Isabel held his gaze.
I know they will.
Matthew scoffed.
You're overestimating yourself.
She didn't argue. She simply stood and walked out. 2 weeks later, Cross and Hartley lost its first client. Then another, contracts transferred quietly to Isabel's new firm. Matthew called each one in disbelief. Every conversation ended the same way. We prefer working with Isabel. Within 3 months, nearly every major client had moved. The press began noticing. Articles appeared. Rising legal powerhouse Isabel Cross launches independent firm. Corporate clients flocked to Cross Legal. Matthew stopped attending social events. Cross and Hartley slowly shrank into a shadow of its former prestige. One evening the following spring, Isabel stood in her new office. The sunset poured gold across the harbor. Her firm was thriving. A team of brilliant lawyers worked down the hall. Cases poured in faster than they could schedule them. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She answered.
Isabel Cross.
A familiar voice spoke quietly.
Hello, Isabel.
Matthew. She leaned against the window.
What do you want?
A pause.
I heard something today.
About what?
About the firm.
Isabel waited.
They say you're the most powerful attorney in the city now.
She said nothing. Matthew exhaled slowly.
You planned all of this.
Yes.
Another silence. And then he said something strange.
I'm proud of you.
Isabel blinked. The words felt foreign.
Are you?
Yes.
She frowned. Matthew continued.
You should know something.
What?
That dinner party, the comments I made,
Yes.
I knew clients were listening.
Her heart skipped.
And?
I knew it would push you.
She thought over the words.
Push me?
You're brilliant, Isabel. But you were comfortable. I knew the only way you'd leave the firm and build something bigger was if you believed you had something to prove.
Her voice sharpened.
You humiliated me.
Yes.
Publicly.
Yes.
And you expected gratitude?
No.
Matthew's voice softened.
I expected you to destroy me.
Isabel stared out at the darkening water.
And you're okay with that?
Yes.
Why?
His answer came slowly.
Because the world deserves the version of you that isn't standing beside someone else.
The line went quiet. Then he added,
I was just the obstacle.
The call ended. Isabel lowered the phone slowly. Outside, the harbor lights shimmered like diamonds scattered across the water. For the first time since the divorce, she felt something unexpected. Not anger, not victory, understanding. Because sometimes the most ruthless opponent in your life is the one who knew you were unstoppable all along.